This is another shocker to some, but maybe not to me and to some others. The video you're about to watch is the video of that of the former Nigeria Chief of Defense Staff by the name Mr. Irabor. You need to hear him exposing those who are sponsoring insecurity in Nigeria. He exposed them live and direct on national television. I don't want to say much. I want you to hear from him yourself. In case this is your first time coming across my video, I want to say big thank you to you for stopping by. This is Holy Ghost on platform, a platform that tells you undiluted truth. Let's take a listen now. Thank you. And please let me know your take on this. The Lord bless you.
For example, Mr. Donald Trump, who said they will come to Nigeria gun blazing, and that they will, based on what they are reading, that there is a Christian genocide in Nigeria. And then you see attacks on churches. Churches are not the only ones that are being attacked, but abduction of priests in churches, abduction of traditional rulers, there are people who have been killed in Kebbi, abducted in school and all whatnot. To you, is there a possibility of a link that these terrorists or these bandits are listening to the political dimension? And I've spoken to politicians on this program who have said, look, Sheung, forget it. This is political. All what we're seeing in the last few weeks or so is politically driven. What do you make of those?
Well, somehow you can't hold people for their views. But the reality is that our issues, or in terms of security challenges, are multifaceted, implying that just as you have terrorists who have an ideology, you equally have those who are bent on, targeting Christians, and there are also those who are, also targeting communities. That is, desiring to, displace communities and wanting to stay in those communities to be able to have a voice, or perhaps that could be their bargaining chip, as it were, for whatever reason. There are different reasons. There are those who are also regarded as economic criminals and so on and so forth. So if you now just assume, or if you like, lump the entire thing to be one of those strands, then of course that would be, the analysis would be wrong. And those who also say it's political is also, again, that will be lumping all the issues to assume that all the other issues, they do not matter. It's just for you to heap it at the back of the politicians. That's also not correct. That does not mean that some politicians have not taken advantage of the insecurity, or if you like, the state of under governance, as it were, if I may use that coinage, to want to perhaps gain some form of leverage, to give impression that they can do better. Others perhaps want to give impression that, look, to score the point that there's poor governance, they could also instigate certain crises in one way or the other. So those who believe that it's purely political, maybe assuming their argument, maybe having the argument from that angle. But then, for me, as a security person, and who of course has seen it all, and it would be wrong for
So General, for a fact, Christians have been targeted.
Of course, some Christians have been targeted.
For a fact, politicians are funding terror in this country.
Some politicians. Yeah. If I wouldn't want to say.
So when I say politicians, that means that there are the politicians who are funding it. The repentant terrorists, and people had picked holes in that strategy of recruiting, because there are those who feel that the repentant terrorists were being recruited into the army.
Well, I'm glad that you mentioned this. It has always been a burden for me. Where we got this impression from?
Were they ever?
How can they be? Does not exist. Before I became CDS, I was theater commander, Operation Lafia Dole. Yeah. From there, I crossed over to become Force Commander, Multinational Indian Task Force. When I left, I became the Chief of Defense Training and Operations. I was overseeing all that, and then I became Trader Commander, and I got appointed as a CDS, which I spent 2.5 years in that post. How could it be? Where people got that impression from, I cannot tell. Now, but we have Operation Safe Corridor, which I supported, which I will support today, and I'll continue to support even tomorrow. What is Operation Safe Corridor? What does it entail? It is looking at those that have been arrested, engaged in the act of terrorism and banditry, that are profiled, and so the low risk amongst them, meaning that those who were conscripted into that criminal enterprise, and those perhaps who got themselves caught up in the milieu of the criminality, all right, are now separated and then sent to the camp where they are de-radicalized, all right, over a period. It's like somebody also in a correctional facility, where certain teachings are brought to them, and then some skills are also given to them before allowing them to be reintegrated into the society. On what grounds would there be people talking about?
No, because there are words out there that some of them found their way.
How can they find their way into the military? When, first and foremost, their biometrics were taken, the records of them, and not only were the biometrics taken, there is no non-bill services, especially, let me speak for the military. Army, Navy, and Air Force, each time they are recruiting, you have recruitment officers in every of the states who go with those data, and they are meant to scrutinize them.
So structurally, within the military,
yes,
it's almost impossible for some of these elements to find their way in the military.
It is impossible. And besides, you can't come into the military if those from your local government have not actually sanctioned you, that is,
fit enough.
Yeah, not just,
like a surety.
A guarantor. Mm-hmm. It is the responsibility of the local government, that do that.
We ran for our life. In fact, I ran, not only me. We ran. The next day, almost everybody was limping because we run as long as your legs can take you to. Because some of the people here run to the neighboring villages, but some of us, we escaped and then we moved to the neighboring rocks. Like myself, I slept in the rock under the cave. I slept there till 5 o'clock in the morning before I was able to come out and then come back to my house. There was a vigilante unit and there were even security forces unit here in this very place. But you need to know these people are very tactical, because the first issue was that very day, we heard that something happened around Dafo area. So they called the security forces from Manguna to Dafo. And then immediately they still had another call that something is happening in Manguna. They still called the security from here to reinforce them in Manguna. So immediately they were in Manguna, they had a call that here, it is happening here in our village. So you see, they have destabilized the security. And since there was nothing happening between us, nothing has triggered this. We did not kill their cows, we did not kill any of them. Nothing was happening between us. So we least expect this. Everybody was just staying peacefully. It was in the daytime, it was in the evening around 3, like that. So we didn't expect anything. So the vigilante and everybody was just relaxed, thinking that all is well. So immediately they came. When they started the gunshots, everywhere answered, including those that we are staying here together with them, the Fulanis. All of them, they joined in the attack. So we were even surprised. You look at someone that you know him, pushing you, he wants to kill you, he will ask you, stop. Since we have stayed with them for a long period of time, find out that some of them were speaking our dialect. They will call you if care is not taken. They call some of us, when you try to turn back, you see that they want to kill you, then you run. You know that it is not your person. I lost my uncle by name Simon Banghas. He's a secondary school teacher, a vice principal with GSS Manguna. I lost him during the attack. The day we did the mass burial, his body wasn't found. The next day, we moved on the search again. So as we went to the search, we went down here like this. So we were searching inside one banana like that was planted by one of our people. So it was through the search that we saw blood around. So we followed through the blood and then we found out that he was shot in the chest and then he was cut here with cutlass too. So we were checking them, we found his body there. Then we carried the body and came and buried him up here. The men were their main target. They even said, some of the women, they stopped them and said, why are you running? It is your men that we want. So the target mainly was on the men that were around within the village. The idea was that if the men are all gone, will the women stay? The women will no more stay. Because if you look at it, this is just the issue of trying to grab land. So they want territory for their own. So no community can stay without the men. So the men are the backbone of the community. So if they will be able to deal with all the men of the community, or maybe, let me say, the highest percentage has been taken away, the next thing there is that the other ones will feel they are no more safe. They will just move and then they will occupy the place. I thought, to my own understanding, that was why they were targeting men, because each and everybody knows that that day they were targeting men. And out of the number of the people that died, in fact, like 90 or 95% of them are men. It had been happening. Sex violence, kidnapping, writing letters to people, and then people have to pay them. If not, they will come. They have kidnapped so many people in our community. In the course of the kidnap, they even killed 2 people in one Angwa called Widia. Last year, they were trying to make a kidnap. So with that, they were able to kill 2 people in the course of the kidnap. And they did not sustain the kidnap, but they still wrote a letter to that person. And that person still have to pay them. That if they did not pay them, they will come back. So if they target and make sure that maybe they find out that you have something that they want, or maybe say if you are a little bit financially buoyant, they will target you. And they know that if those people that have finance have been taken down or have been run down, so you find that everybody will be vulnerable. we have no option than to submit to whatever they want. Probably government is going to help us to make these vigilantes well armed. They'll be able to help us because they know our terrain more than the securities that we have here. And looking at our roads, we don't have good roads, we don't have network. So better the vigilantes that are staying here can be able to deal with the security situation better than the armed men that are here. But if the government is going to help our vigilante, the community police and the neighborhood watch, all of them, if the government will be able to help them with arms and then educate them, give them more security tactics. Training, yes, sir. Train them very well. I think that one is going to go a long way to salvage this situation.
What is the size of the vigilante or civil defense or self-defense units here in Kogi town? What's in terms of population? Like how many volunteers do you think there are?
Yes, there will be up to 40 or more.
And
yes, sir.
Among them, do you how many of them would you say have,
let's say,
so-called arms?
No, they are equipped. Let's say
none, because government have not given anybody any armed. So you find that only but of those that are found in the hunters, you find that if they happen to buy any den gun to help them in hunting, so those ones you can say maybe they have it, but that one, the den gun cannot, it's not that sophisticated that it can help you.